let's see here. Here's a problem. Let's just go ahead and do problem number 1. And think about the cardinalities and make this ERD. Easy peasy. With those rules, I'll put that over here, reading those rules. The department employs many employees. Each employee is employed by only one department. All right, let's bring up Lucidchart. So I'm going to go, I'm logged into my, I have to be logged into my Emmaus email or my Lucidchart won't show up. So I know I'm logged in because that is showing up. So I'll go to lucidchart.com and any of my spare pages here. Lucidchart.com. And I'll get rid of a couple blank diagrams. With our version, we can only make up to 10 diagrams. I guess this one is blank. I guess I can use that one. And here is my blank Lucidchart. Now let's go ahead and put that in our homework description here on Schoology. Let's go ahead and add Chapter 4's assignment, which is complete the chart for problem 1 on page, what page is that? That is page 156. And I'll put the text right here. So here's all the rules. And a department employs many employees, but each employee is employed by only one department. So which would be the many side? A department employs many employees, but each employee is employed by only one department. Well, it's implying there is a department and employee relationship, right? Okay, so let's get our diagram over here. And now we can have the Chapter 4 assignment put in the right place. And I can zoom in on that now. Alright, so an department employs many employees. What tables does that imply? Well, if I add, make sure I add entity relationship shapes. That's the only one I need. Those entity relationship shapes. Add those. Now they show up as a choice down there. Well, it's already told me that I have departments and employees. So let's go ahead and drag my department entity over. And we'll make it department. Just double click on that. Department. Department. My department table. I could copy paste that. Oh, not that one. I could copy that one. It'll have the same size. And this will be employees. Okay, what's the relationship? Well, an employee is going to have an employee ID, right? Or an employee number. I'm going to call it Emp ID. I like ID rather than num. There's going to be a department ID. Thinking about the relationship now. What would it be? But each employee is employed by one department. One way that I like to think of it is what makes sense in terms of what fields an employee has. Does an employee have an employee ID? Well, each would have an ID. Where would the foreign key be? Would this have an employee here? Employee ID as a foreign key? Or would this have a department as a foreign key? If I had one like manager of a department, that would be a specific employee. But if an employee is in a department, doesn't it make sense that each employee is assigned to a particular department? Where it says, what does it say? Each employee is employed by only one department. That's the business rule they gave us. So therefore, that implies that the department ID goes with employee because he has one department to be assigned to. And then from that, typically it is the one side to the many side. The one side is the primary key. So it would be one here, many here. So one, and I think by default it starts at the one and goes to the many. So this is telling me that one department may have one to many employees, whereas for an employee, they are assigned to only one department. That's what that one-to-many relationship diagram shows. Make sense?
Why is it going to the department ID?
Because this is the foreign key in this table. He's saying the department I'm in is identified by its primary key there in that department. So usually, well, I think exclusively, the one side is the primary key side. So this is my primary key. And in the entity relationship, do we show the primary key in the diagram? I don't remember seeing in the diagram it having to be shown. No, I just have the name of the store. So I really don't even have to have the fields in there. But if it helps you to figure out why that is, let's see if I can delete that. Oops. I guess I just have to backspace over it. Double click. How do I get rid of a field? There, delete row. Right click, delete row. So I don't have to put in the fields, but if it helps me to understand why this is the many side, go ahead and do that if it helps. Because eventually we'll be putting that in our tables anyway. Oh, and don't forget, at the top here, let's make a text box. And let's put in your name and what this diagram is. Homework, Chapter 5, Problem 1. shared. And let's go ahead and share it and get a, oh, I have to give it, I'll call it Manning CS312 CH04 homework. And let's see, can I share it with anyone with the link? Multi-use link, generate link. There's the link. I can copy and paste right here. Kind of an ugly link, but we'll live with that. Nice thing about that now, if I get your Visio diagram, I can always see your share. Your share link, I can always copy paste that into my address bar and actually see the shared diagram. Okay, so there's that one relationship. Now let's go on. The other relationship is some employees known as rovers are not assigned to any department. So what would that tell you? How would we modify this? This has to change a little bit. I click on that line, and I change one end of the arrow. If I stretch this out, I'll see both ends here. Stretch it out a little bit more, I guess. There we go. Now I see both ends of my line. I want to change this if this could be 0 departments he's in, these rovers. So what would I do? I can click on that guy. So there's my 0 to many. So an employee, if he has a department, has only one, but rover employees may have no department assigned to them. Okay, so that's our second criteria. All right, we've got that one done. Rovers are not assigned to any department. Making sense? All right, let's see if you can do this one. A division operates many departments, but each department is operated by only one division. A division operates many departments, but each department is operated by only one division. So let's make a division entity. I'm going to copy this guy. Give him a name division. Give him a division ID. Only because it helps me perhaps understand what the relationship should be. Okay, if each division may have many departments, but a department has only one division, where would the foreign key be? And which would be the one and which would be the many side? Similar to the employee, many employees, many departments. Where would the many side be? What do you think, Nathan? A division can contain many departments. A department does only have one division. Which would be the one side? Well, think about this. An employee can only have one department, so we put the department ID in the employee. If a department can only have one division, well then we would put that row. I need to add a row. Where's my add a row? Add. How do I add a new? There. Add. There. Insert new row below. A department, since it only has one division, that's where I would put his reference to his division ID. as the foreign key. And remember, the foreign key side is usually the many side, unless it's a one-to-one relationship. If it's referring to this primary key, we know this is the one side. So if I'm referring to a table's ID, that table is the one side. Because remember, that ID is unique and can only be one of them. So when you think many departments can be in one division, it's many on this side, one on the division side. So to get the relationship, I start at the division and draw to the department. And then the next question is, can a department have no assigned division? I don't think that would make sense, but let's read our business rules and see if that would make sense, or if they require that. Okay, and the text here would be, division operates a department. A department is operated by a division. Okay, now we're back to employees. An employee may be assigned to many projects, and a project may have many employees assigned to it. That sounds sort of like a many-to-many. So let's make a project entity, and we'll put it over here next to employees. Now this can't be done in a real SQL database, but it's legal in our ERDs. So this is my project table, and I'll call it Proj ID. And because it's not able to be done in a real database, I'm not going to worry about my keys. We know there's going to be some intermediate table, but let's go ahead and do the relationship anyway. So I click on one, draw to the other, and I change this end of the arrow that's currently selected. I can change his end to be a one-to-many. And I think I want him to be a one-to-many. Just notice that on this guy. Make sure that's a one-to-many. And I think this guy has both sides are the one-to-many. Unless an employee can have zero-to-many projects. Oh, and look at this. A project must have at least one employee assigned to it. So that means there has to be at least one here. I suppose an employee may have zero-to-many projects. I'm going to change the end of that to be a zero-to-many on that end. Because an employee may not yet be assigned to a project, but it is one employee is at least assigned. If there's a project, there's at least one employee on the employee side. There could be many. In the actual implementation, there will be probably an assignments table where there's going to be an employee associated with a particular project. And there'll be multiple records associating more employees with other projects. So that'll be a separate associative entity. We're not going to, unless they tell us to name it, I'm not going to name it. Is that making sense? This means an employee may have zero-to-many projects. Going this way means a project has to have at least one employee, but couldn't have many. So that's the one or more. And so we got down to this one. A project must have at least one employee assigned to it. That's that guy. One of the employees manages each department, and each department is managed by only one employee. So we have a manager of a department over here in the department table. So I better add that row here. I guess I have to have select a row, then I can add a row beneath it. So in the department, there is going to be a manager. I'll call it MGR ID. Does it make sense that a department, when it says an employee one of the employees manages each department, well, that would make sense to have that employee defined in the department table. And it's going to be referring to an employee, which is going to be this employee ID. So, one manager, and I don't like them crossing, but I'll adjust my lines after this. And on that side, I do the one-to-one. One manager ID refers to one employee, and I think now I can adjust that line to not be crossing that one. And if I move this a little bit, there I have that crossing. I wish it would do a little hop over it rather than straight over. And I suppose if I rearrange these, I wonder if it'll let me do that. Can I grab that and move it up? No, it won't let me. Let's try this just to avoid the crossing of lines. I'm going to insert a row above him, and I'm going to call him Manager ID. Get rid of this row, and do that. Oops, not that. Click, select him, and move him. There we go. Then I don't have the ugliness of lines crossing. So a manager is on one department. There can only be one manager, so there's the one-to-one relationship. Now one more here. There's my manager. One of the employees runs each division, and each division is run by only one employee. So a similar thing, my division is going to be pointing to an employee as well. So I'm thinking of moving these around so I can have a connection to my employee table, just to reduce my number of connections here. Let's see if I can move that up here. Oh, it wants to do that. I can live with that. So I'll move this guy to the other side. No, I don't want that. Sorry. Select that and then move it. There we go. And select and move that. I got that. Now I need someone in charge of my division, and I think what I want to do is select this, make sure it's clear. There's my division ID there, and my division ID there. Although I don't have to specify the division ID, since I have it there, I might as well make the hook to that row. Now I'm going to add to this row, select the row, and right-click Insert Row Below. I'll have that be I'll call it Div Manager. And that's going to refer to an employee. And just to avoid ugly crossing lines, let's see if it'll let me do this. Connect that to that. Yeah, it lets me do multiples, but it leaves room for confusion. Let me bring it all around to the other side and make that a one-to-one, just like our department manager is one and only one employee. So a one-to-one relationship, turn that one on both sides. And I only did that just so I wouldn't get the ugliness of two lines on top of each other coming into the employee ID. Now, because ERD doesn't specifically need to reference the actual rows, I could have put this here or here, but because I want to double check, I'm thinking, okay, if I were to make this, yeah, he would be referring to a specific employee ID in the employee table, and one-to-one. There's one manager in the division. Now I think that's it. Let's take a look at the rules. Have I missed anything? Start back from the top. Department employs many employees. Department, one to many employees. Employees have in their table what their department is. They're one department. It may be There may be 0 employees in a specific department. But if they are referring to a department, it is not null. I guess it doesn't say that explicitly. No, it does say. It does say each employee is employed by only one department. It doesn't say 0 to 1. So when it says only 1, I'm seeing that it has to be a 1 on this side. One department here. But then in the next line it says there are rovers. So that means this could be a 0. If I didn't have the rovers, this would have to be a 1. Assigned to many projects, project table, and many employees. But an employee may have 0 to many projects. There has to be at least one employee in a project, so there is a 1 to many on the employee side. And then employee manages each department. There's my department manager, and it only has 1 employee as manager. One of the employee runs each division. I'm calling that the div manager, points to 1 employee. So there I gave you easy homework for this chapter, because we're going to be doing fancier stuff in chapter 5, so I don't feel too bad not giving you enough work, because that would be a horrible thing. This is the chapter 4. And I've already given you an assignment for chapter 5. I'm going to move these down a little bit more into the middle of the page. I think I can do a select all and then move them down a little bit. I'm just going to check to see that this link does share nicely. Let's see. Let's see what that link does here. I'm going to select that. Let's see if it'll let me select that text. I'm going to copy that text and put it in another browser just to see if that link is indeed accessible. Paste that link. Oh, it won't let you see it unless they're signed in. That's a bit of a pain, but I'll be planning to sign in. Yeah, and remember how if you want to download it, you can just do File, Export. No, not Export. Download as. Be sure to give it to me as a Visio. Then I can import it into, because it will import from Visio. I thought it would import from Visio. Import diagram. There, import diagram from Visio. I didn't realize, I haven't messed around with, I could actually import data? That sounds kind of interesting. SQL, Salesforce. It'd be interesting to see how that actually would work. I have to have some kind of link. But there is, the only thing missing here would be a little comment at the top with my name. So be sure to put your name at the top, so I know that's your fine work. And that would be the kind of thing I'm looking for, chapter 4. And a little practice like this, you'll, when we get to the actual building the tables, it's going to be, oh man, we've looked at the models. This is easy stuff. Okay, so I'm going to quick look. Is there any other way to share it? Let's see. Advance, access link. Interesting that it doesn't remember the previous link that I had made. What if I just want to view? A view link. I'm wondering if they would still force me to sign in. Let's try this. Maybe this would let anyone see it without being logged in. I'm going to see what